Hi everyone, and welcome back to today's Love Transformation class. And I have a beautiful guest expert with me today, and we're going to be talking about manifesting. And I know that so many of you really appreciate and resonate with the concept of manifesting, but when it comes to manifesting love, sometimes it's not always as easy as we hope. And the beautiful Shelly is joining me today, and she's going to share all of her amazing wisdom and some beautiful tips as well about how we can use the process of manifesting to create a beautiful soulmate connection. Thank you for joining us today, Shelly.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I would love to start off by talking about your personal journey to love and how manifesting was so intrinsic to that process as well. Are you happy to share a little bit about your story?
Yeah, I would love to share about my process. And yeah, at this point, there's been so many twists and turns and a lot of pieces of this path. But I think the best place for me to start is with my own spiritual awakening, which happened 7 years ago. And yeah, there's been a lot of integration that's happened in these past 7 years. But what happened on that day, I remember the day, it was November 25th, 2011. And it was, well, the day before, let me back up. The day before, I was having a horrible fight with my boyfriend. It was actually Thanksgiving here in the US. I was just in a really bad spot. I was upset with my family members. I drank too much. I just had like a really awful night. And I went to bed feeling horrible, had a horrible fight with my boyfriend. And I mean, the way I'm speaking about it now, it actually doesn't sound that bad, but this was bad. This was like bad, low of the low. And essentially what I was feeling inside myself was so much shame and just kind of disgust with who I am. And from that really, really dark place, for whatever reason on that night, something flipped on inside of me. And it was like this tiny little faint light is what it felt like at the time. And it was like almost knocking on the door, like, hey, and I always kind of point to this area because this is where I felt it. It's almost knocking on the door and saying, hey, this is who you are. Like, listen deep within. There's more to you and to your life. And you got to listen. I'm going to show you. And I actually didn't know what that was until I actually Googled a couple days later because something happened. Like definitely something happened from that moment on, and I got sober and like a lot of other things happened after that night. But what really happened, what that voice was my inner experience of wholeness within, of source, of God, of love. There are so many words we can use. It was truth. It was like the truth, the highest truth coming through me and getting my attention and saying, this is who you really are. And so from that point on, I basically just devoted my entire life to that essence within. And that is really, really where this journey began. And what I have since learned is that essence within, that sense of wholeness within, that is really the deepest sense of self-love. That is what we are. That is our experience of union within. And from that place, if we learn to resonate in that energy, we learn to live from that energy, we then go on to automatically manifest a reality and relationships that feel like that have that sense of wholeness, that have that sense of oneness within. So yeah, it's a long story because from there 7 years, I mean, so much did happen, but I have manifested relationships. And really it comes back down to tuning into oneness within, learning to find that true essence of who you are within. That's really where it starts.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And I know a lot of the women will be able to relate that it's often after some of those painful experiences that we've had in love that it does crack us open a little bit to exploring self-growth, to exploring connection with self, to exploring some spiritual practices. Let's talk more about that, how our journey to love, and sometimes painful journey to love, can open us up to exploring that side of ourselves a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it works. It's like when everything falls apart and when you're in the midst of everything that you thought you were, when it is crumbling, that is typically where we find the truth. That's where grace comes in. Often I find that people don't let themselves crumble enough, like that they stop the crumbling just short of really allowing themselves to have the breakthrough. And I find, I really think why I had the awakening was because I surrendered so much into it. I was just like, okay, I am done. I am done. I am done. And I wasn't even seeking an answer. I wasn't seeking anything. I was just like, I let it all go. I just was like, I am done. And that's scary to do. It's scary to go that deep into our disappointment, despair, sadness, hurt. It's really scary to go all the way there. But a couple things happen when we do. Number one, what I'm speaking about, we have the opportunity to really learn the truth. For some reason, in those deep, dark spaces, we really get to see, no, that's not what you are. What you are is so much more. It's so much greater. It's perfect. It can't be broken. You can't be broken. So we learn that. And then another piece to learning to embrace and go all the way into all of our emotions, all of our experiences, is that when we do that, we manifest a partner who can be with us in those spaces too. So here's a really important key about manifesting. You manifest what you are. And another way that's easy to think about this is you manifest people who treat you how you treat yourselves. So if I can be with myself, not only through the beauty and the expansion and the gorgeousness and all of that, not only if I can be with myself there, but if I can also be with myself and hold myself in the pain and the hurt, if I can stand by myself there, guess what type of partner I'm going to call in? I'm going to call in a partner who can do the same. This is how it works. And it's happened in my life. Like, it's actually happened many times. I really saw a complete transition of the type of man I manifested. I started manifesting a type of man that I had no idea existed before I started really showing up for myself, before I started to really cherish and love and hold myself. All of the practices that I started doing for myself then started appearing in the men that I would manifest. And it became so obvious that they were a reflection of me. Like, as deep as I was willing to be with myself, as loving as I was willing to be with myself, all of that was reflected in the type of man who would come into my life.
So what do you think is happening? I know for a lot of women, they'll explain that they tend to manifest men who might be fun. They might have heaps of chemistry. There might be a really, really strong attraction there, but it just doesn't quite have that depth of connection. There's not that trust and safety. And, often we refer to those kinds of men as emotionally unavailable, or just not quite being able to get deep into that connection. What's going on there?
Yeah. So that's one of my specialties, is talking about the unavailable man. And the first thing, so this is a really easy way for us to work with manifesting. You have to see the pattern that you continue to attract in, and you have to ask yourself, how am I resonating with that frequency of energy? So there's two things with the unavailable man. Number one, if you're attracting an unavailable man, you have to ask yourself, number one, how am I being unavailable to my? That's number one. Like, there are mirrors. They mirror us. They mirror how we are with ourselves. So
What would be some
Power.
examples of how we are unavailable to ourselves?
Easy ones are when, in particular, like when we're feeling emotional, when we're feeling like things that we don't like to feel. If we're like pushing those emotions down, or we're mad at ourselves for feeling a particular way, or if we just like don't have space for ourselves, or we get frustrated with ourselves, or we don't want it, any kind of resistance or pushing away of your emotional experience of any part of who you are, that's you being unavailable for yourself. Like, you have to be available to all of you. You have to show up for all of you. You have to have space for all of you. It does not mean you have to like feeling sad. No, no one likes feeling sad. But you can show up to that sad part of you with compassion and love and be like, hey, the way I started doing this is an easy way to do it. I would like talk to myself as if, there's a loving me and there's the sad me. Like, hey, honey, I'm here. I even hold myself like, hey, sweetie, I know, like, this is hard, but I'm here with you. That is a way to be available to yourself. And how much would we want a partner who does the same thing, right? So you have to treat yourself the way you want to be treated. So that's one thing, being unavailable to yourself. The other reason women attract unavailable men is because they have what I like to call a relationship imprint that says, love is going to hurt, love is going to leave, men aren't going to show up. And this isn't even consciously happening in the mind. It's almost happening in your body and in your cells and your being. It's an imprint from something that happened to you in the past. And most of us have had experiences with unavailable parents. And that's only because they had unavailable parents. It just like gets passed down, right? So it's not even our parents' fault. It's just kind of how the world has worked. But because of whatever has happened in our past, whether we didn't feel loved as we are, we didn't feel really seen, really cherished, we didn't feel like they showed up for us in the way we would have really wanted, then we have this belief system that's running that says, people aren't actually going to show up for me. And then we manifest more of the same, people who don't show up. And then the belief gets ingrained even further. Then you only date unavailable men. Then you're certain that those are the only guys that exist. And it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. So what we have to do in this type of, if we're running this type of pattern, is we have to really start to look deeper at our beliefs and ask ourselves, like, do I really feel like there is a man who can show up for me, man or woman or whoever? Do I feel like there's someone that can show up for me? The language I like to use to start to shift, you just want to start to open up this limiting belief. And I'll do it. I'll show you right now. The language I like to use is, okay, so this would be like the conversation I'm having with myself. Okay, so I feel like all men I date are unavailable, and I'm really frustrated about that. Then I would ask, well, is it possible that not all men are unavailable? Is that possible? Just is it possible? Yeah, it's probably possible. Okay, let's go a little step further. Is it possible that you could meet a man that isn't unavailable? Okay, it's possible. And you just start opening it up. Is it possible that actually someone could show up for me? Is it just possible? Yeah, it's possible someone could show up for me. So you have to start like undoing these beliefs that are ingrained in our system that are saying, no, it's this way, all men are unavailable. Is this making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is an example of how when we have these kinds of beliefs, they can prevent us from manifesting. How do these beliefs tie into our manifesting ability?
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Well, what we are manifesting is what we believe. So we can call it a block, but really actually what it's doing is it's manifesting exactly what you don't want. So we're always manifesting the energy that we're resonating with, the beliefs that we are resonating with. We're creating a reality that mirrors what those beliefs and energies are. And so if your more dominant belief, or if a dominant belief in your system in the realm of relationships is men can't be trusted, if you're holding that belief, you can even feel it. Like there's a particular frequency of energy. When I say like men can't be trusted, there's a particular, it has a frequency of energy. And what's happening is you're creating a reality that's resonating with that frequency of energy, with that belief. You create more of the same. And so this is why we have to make sure our beliefs and our energy is fully aligned with what it is we want to create. And this is a process. But yeah, you can clear out these blocks. They're just beliefs. Like they aren't the truth. And this kind of goes back to a spiritual awakening, or learning to experience love in yourself as yourself. That truth trumps all truths. And that truth says, I'm going to be loved no matter what. Like there's nothing I can do that would make me unlovable. And in fact, I'm whole in this moment, and I create wholeness in my life. So when we learn to kind of switch from resonating with the beliefs that are based in lack, that are saying, I can't manifest love, I can't manifest with what I want, and we move into that experience of embodied wholeness within that says, yes, I am love, and I will create everything I desire. And we start, that's the road we go on. We start creating from that inherent wholeness.
Beautiful. What about for the women that might be fairly certain that their thoughts are aligned? I'm really ready. I want to manifest a partner. I believe it can happen for me. But then I'm also feeling like tired and a bit frustrated and a bit worn down because it's not happening. But maybe don't really know where their manifesting isn't working for them.
So that's a beautiful question, because the truth is, if you are actually manifesting in the way that is going to call in what you desire, you're not going to feel frustrated. You're not going to feel tired. And it's okay. Of course you're going to feel that way sometimes, but the point is, or the ideal is to get into the state of being where you literally feel so fulfilled within. And you can also feel so fulfilled within with your fantasy of your next man. You can use that to continue to feel fulfilled within. Like you can fantasize about him and feel the energy of that union. But if there's constant kind of lack, which is like, where is he? He's not here. Why is it taking so long? I'm exhausted. I don't want to do this. That's all based in lack. That's the frequency of energy that basically is saying, no men are here. Like, no men are here. So what are you going to keep creating? No men are here. So while I really understand the desire, the real deep desire to create a relationship, what we want more than that is to feel whole no matter what our life circumstances are. To feel happy no matter what our life circumstances are. Relationship, no relationship. What we really want is that sense of wholeness within. And if you really devote yourself to living in that, to experiencing that, to feeling that, then that is the only way you're going to call in a relationship that's going to actually feel good. And it's going to feel good because you feel good. We can only create a relationship that feels good when we feel good. And there is a way, I mean, that's the greater reality of who we are. It's like life happens and people come and people go and we travel to different places and we live it, it's constantly changing. We're constantly like moving and changing new information. We have good days, we have bad days. All of that is going to continue whether you're in a relationship or not. But your home, your resting point, the truth of who you are, does not change. And it is within you, and it is your sanctuary. It is the place to go to always. And if you have that, you really are complete.
I want to explore a little bit about, I know a lot of women can relate to this idea of wanting to be seen and wanting someone to accept and love them for all that they are and connect with this. But sometimes that's a bit easier said than done, especially when we've had almost a lifetime of feeling senses of rejection and abandonment. We've had past hurt relationships. What practices do you recommend, or how can we really get it to a place where we have the confidence to be able to be open up and be seen rather than dating and relating at a superficial level, which feels safer?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a beautiful question. I love that. I feel there's two pieces to the answer. So the first is cherish yourself, like really learn how to cherish yourself. And this is a practice like anything else. Like, you can get good at it. You can learn how to really cherish yourself, because that's what you're speaking about. We want to be, again, the formula always works. So it's like, what you want in a man. You want him to see you. You want him to be with you. You want him to cherish you. Okay, write down what you want him to do to you. Now you start doing that to yourself, like really. And so what does it mean to cherish yourself? What does it mean to like really love yourself, really honor who you are? And if that feels like hard and you don't know how to do it, just start small, like feeling grateful for different parts of who you are, writing down, like instead of doing just like a plain gratitude list, do a gratitude list of you. What are you grateful for about yourself? What is amazing about you? What is special about you? What is like really important that you want to be seen? I mean, this is you seeing yourself. And if you do that and you do it enough, like you really, really will start to honor, cherish, respect, love, hold yourself very, very deeply. That's key. You have to do that. And again, it's a wonderful manifesting practice because you are calling in a partner who's going to treat you the way you treat yourself. So you really have to get good at treating yourself so exquisitely, like a queen. And the second piece that feels important is what I like to call inner child work. And so this is more for what happens when we aren't feeling good, when we're feeling sad, when we're feeling rejected, when we're feeling abandoned, when those wounds come up. Essentially what that is, it's your inner little girl that is feeling like she's feeling all the things she's felt her whole life. She's feeling left. She's feeling unlovable. She's feeling not cared for. And so again, in a similar way, we need to go to that little girl and love her and hug her and tell her, like, honey, I am here with you. I will not leave you. I will be with you. I'll stand by you. I'll protect you. I'm right here. It's like giving her the love that she didn't get and that she really wants to receive. And really what she wants to receive is just to be held and just to be able to cry and just to be able to feel how she feels and feel like someone's in her corner and someone's loving her. And we get to do that for ourselves. As adult women, we get to do that for ourselves. It's our duty. It's our duty. And again, what is this manifesting? This is manifesting a partner who's going to hold you in the hard times, who's going to support you, who's going to love you there. I think what often happens, this is very common, is we don't feel held in those spaces. And so we want a partner, so we'll feel held in those spaces. But the way to feel held in those spaces is doing it for yourself. And then that's what attracts in a partner who's going to be able to do that too. If we can't hold ourselves in those spaces, we won't call in a man who can. That's just how it is. If you ignore yourself in those spaces, if you can't deal, if you don't like yourself, if you're mean to yourself there, you're not going to be with someone who's really going to be able to hold you there. So, yeah.
So beautiful. And it just occurred to me then, as you were sharing both of those beautiful practices, I know a lot of women do find it really hard to sit and really contemplate, who am I, and what are the beautiful gifts that I have to offer, and what is special about the essence of me and who I am. And it just occurred to me then that incorporating those two practices, actually reflecting back and having conversations with the inner child you, it might be actually more easy to identify those beautiful gifts and the specialness of who you are, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, we can have compassion for that little girl within. It's a way to get to know yourself on a very deep level. And it's a way for you to stand by yourself on a very deep level. And almost like that mama bear comes out, or, it's just like, I will take care of you. I'm not going to leave you. That's what I have said to my inner child many times. Like, I am here. I'm here. I'm not going to leave you. I'll come back. Even if I leave, I'll come back. I promise. I am here with you. It's just a way to really almost fuse yourself. Fuse like these lost parts of us, or these holes, these wounds. We fuse it with that eternal love that is like, I will not leave you. And that's deep, deep healing right there.
And I get so curious too. This practice is so important as women, not just for creating beautiful, lasting relationships, but also in terms of actualizing all that we're meant to be and feeling great in our body. And I'm curious to know why is it so hard? Why is this process of nurturing ourselves and honoring ourselves so hard, do you think, for us as women in this 21st century?
Well, I think if we're running on a deeper seated belief that says, I'm not worthy, I'm actually not good enough, I'm incomplete, I'm not good enough. If that is like the baseline, or kind of the deeper belief that we actually believe about ourselves, then from an energetic perspective, you kind of have to treat yourself with that energy. Like, you just can't really treat yourself well if that's what you believe about yourself. And so that's why we have to crack through that, because that's a top layer. It's just a belief that's held. But underneath that is the real truth, which is you're inherently lovable. There is nothing you could ever, ever, ever not do to not be lovable. And in fact, you are love, like the essence of your being, not just in some spiritual talk way, like the true essence of what we all are and what everything is love. We are inherently whole. And so if you are having trouble cracking through or breaking through these negative beliefs, and you still just don't feel that great about yourself, I would suggest starting, meditation can be hard for people, but ways that people get into the spiritual path, maybe yoga is a particular way into the spiritual path. Find spiritual teachers that you resonate with, that are speaking something that resonates as true to a deeper part of you. Start listening, start opening to hearing that deeper truth, because that's going to blast you open to the real truth of who you are. And there's many people right now on the planet that are offering this transmission, that are speaking to the deeper truth. And that's the message that anyone who is feeling not good enough and doesn't know how to get past that, that's the message they need to hear. They need to hear the deeper truth, so that their being can wake up to that, so they can remember as well. And you will remember. We're remembering. That's what's happening. People are blasting open. People are waking up. We are remembering our true essence. It's happening in mass amounts right now. So now is the time, and you can.
It absolutely is. And what I love now as well is that so many beautiful women are appreciating how powerful it is to come together and support each other. And I know that you run beautiful events. Can you tell us a little bit more about the power of coming together collectively as women and what sort of impact that has on what we're talking about?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I have found for myself, and what part of why I'm passionate about running events for women, is that it's in those events that we actually get to feel these qualities that we want to be feeling. We get to finally be seen. We get to finally speak our truth. We get to finally be heard. We get to be held. We get to be loved for who we are. We get to see other women and say, like, whoa, I am just like you. We are the same. We've been through the same, like there is a common resonance. We get to belong. So these deeper, and all that I'm speaking to, like, I feel my chills like start to go through my body. The reason I'm having those, that's truth. That's what truth feels like. It feels like those chills. It feels like, oh my God, that's a deeper truth. That's real. And so, yeah, that's one of the things that we get to cultivate together in groups with other women. We get to cultivate the truth. We get to remember the truth. We get to create it together. We get to see each other in the other's eyes and in their stories. And for me, some of the deepest healing and transformation that has ever happened for me has happened in groups, not just groups with women, but groups with men and women as well, where we are really sitting down to collectively be with each other. It's the type of relating we're all craving. It's the type of connection. It's real connection. It's real relating. And so that's actually a really good thing for women to do. Again, when manifesting love, you want to put yourself in relationships with people where you feel the exchange of these qualities. So I have a really good friend who, her and I are so deeply in resonance. And without a doubt, we know that we help each other manifest what we desire because we so see and resonate and reflect and love and encourage the same qualities back and forth. And this is just amping the energy. It's like just calling it in even more. So yeah, definitely find a group of women if possible, or any group, and even online groups. I mean, this is an example. And go be part of that community. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it's so important for any of the beautiful women who haven't yet experienced the power of being in such a beautiful container and what that can do for us. And I know sometimes I've spoken to some women as well that have felt like, okay, so the idea of being seen and being in that is almost a little bit scary for me. What would you say to those women?
Yeah, it is scary. It is scary. Like when we haven't been revealing who we are to the world, which most people aren't, most people aren't revealing themselves without even knowing that they're not revealing themselves. So it's vulnerable. That's true. And I would say, number one, go slow. Like you don't have to show everything at once. It's okay. Just go slow, go at your own pace, trust that. But also push past your edge, like go for it. Because if that deeper call, that deeper knowing within you is saying, I want this, I need this, I'm scared of it, but I want it, then you have to go for it. And it will get easier soon. Living, like doing everything as your truth will become your second nature. That's what will happen. And you will find that you are so loved for you exactly as you are, even in your shyness, even in your vulnerability, even when you don't know what to say, even in your awkwardness, even in your anything, because we all are that. We all relate to all of these emotions, all these ways of being. And you'll find when you're in a group, you'll feel that support of you in all these places, and you'll start to support yourself more and more and more as a result.
So beautiful. And I think this is something that's becoming even more relevant for us when we're increasingly, although we're very, very connected over social media, we are increasingly disconnected from our friends, from our supportive communities as well. Is there, what else, Shelly, can we do to outside of groups to create that kind of sense of really being seen, being felt, bring us into our truest essence?
Well, I think one of the best things we can do, and sometimes this is the hardest, but it's really, really important, it's taking time to be with yourself, and often be with yourself in silence and be with yourself in stillness. So no phone, no computer, no running errands, no, like, you can have a journal. Like, I allow you to have a journal. Maybe not even that though. You can have a journal. Just taking time to be with you. And there's almost a before and after. Before we land in ourselves and land in our true essence, that's very hard to do. It's not comfortable. We hate it. We don't like it. We want to be busy. We want to be distracting ourselves. I get it. Yeah, there's a lot of momentum with that distracting energy. See if you can push your own edge, and start by doing it with a journal. A journal will help. That's an extra, you can write just what you're feeling. Just write like whatever's up for you, whatever's going on inside of you. Just start writing. This is a way to explore yourself, to be with yourself. What I was going to say though, after we have a spiritual awakening, all I want to do is be by myself. Like, there's a place we reach inside eventually that feels so nourishing, feels so good. It feels so much like home. And the point and the hope is to reach that place and to nourish yourself in that place.
Let's talk a little bit about manifesting, but also manifesting from a place where we are also feeling like we're presenting the most attractive version of ourselves, and what that really means to be the most attractive version of ourselves.
Yeah, that's my my free ebook that I offer, How to Become the Most Attractive Version of Yourself. And it actually will be a wonderful guide for women listening, because it takes people through the steps of not only becoming the most attractive version of yourself, but what that actually really means is the most loving, not only loving yourself, but being love, the embodiment of love, how to become that woman in the world for yourself first and foremost, and then for the rest of the world. So that's what the most attractive version of yourself is. It's the woman who knows who she is, who can be with herself through thick and thin, who stands by herself, who is confident with who she is, who truly loves herself. This is what the most attractive version of yourself is. So, there's more in that ebook. So if you want to know more, you can download that.
It is, the link to download Shelly's ebook is directly below the video today. But it just struck my mind that I know a lot of us feel as though I can love myself and I can feel confident, but there's usually a but after that. There's usually a but when, I can love myself, but at the moment I've got 10 extra kilos on, or, I am really confident, but not in these circumstances. How do I guess that's a journey, isn't it? To being able to love all aspects of ourselves, even the ones that we feel like we want to reject in that moment.
Exactly. We're always pushing those edges within ourselves. All of us are it's easy. So the place we start is just by loving the things that are easy to love. We start there. We start with loving the things that are easy to love. And then level 2 is we start to love the things that are harder to love. And can I love myself here too? can I accept myself here too, even though I want to change? Like, let's say, I don't know, the one that pops into my mind is like, let's say I'm not happy with my body right now. I want it to be a little bit more fit and healthy. So my body isn't in the ideal state right now. Let's say that were true. Even though I feel that way, can I still love myself? Can I still love my body? Even as it is, I can have the vision and hold the vision of it changing and want that for myself, but can I still love myself here? And the trick is, or not the trick, but like the secret is, like, if you do love yourself here, love your body as it is here and now, your body will transform. Like, it's going to become more of a body that feels better to be in because you feel good being in your body. You're going to automatically, like, the energetics are going to automatically transform it. So yeah, we have to just learn to love ourselves where we're at. Can I love and accept myself here too? And the reality is there, you know, again, back to the spiritual truth, which is like, there's nothing that makes us unlovable. Do we make mistakes? Yeah, we make mistakes. Do we do things we wish we didn't do? Yeah, we do that. We all do that. But we're still lovable. Like, it's okay. You're still lovable. And it's us learning to really feel that way about ourselves.
And we almost need to be able to continue to say that to ourselves on a daily basis. And I'm so glad that you really, really looked at our audience then and really communicated that in a way that they could see and feel. I know I certainly did, because we're so aware of our own shortcomings, our own flaws, our own mistakes, our own shame. That when we're comparing ourselves to somebody else, of course we're going to be so much more conscious of all those things, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. And I think a way to think about it perhaps is like, well, number one, we're all kind of the same. Like, we all feel the range of emotions. We all have the range of life experiences. We all experience heartbreak and we all experience joy. We experience everything in between. And while the circumstances have been slightly different, essentially we're all the same. So it's really important for us to remember that when we're looking at other human beings. It's very easy for us to make up stories about who other people are and how perfect they are. Social media really pushes that. You know, it's easy to do that with social media. Take a look and just like create all these stories about how they're perfect and they don't feel sadness and all. None of that is true. We all experience the same beauties and the same heartbreaks. And another way to think about it is that, like, this is the journey of life. Life has ups, life has downs. It is beautiful and it is sad. It is like it is everything in between. And that contrast is actually what makes it so beautiful. And so can we just accept that nothing is wrong when we feel grief? In fact, that is a natural part of life. And nothing is actually wrong when we feel maybe like anger, because that's a natural part of life. It's learning to embrace that all is welcome. All is welcome within ourselves and all is welcome, because that's what life is. And so the more we can kind of land in that recognition, we stop resisting ourselves in certain places and we feel more peace within. Yeah.
Beautiful. And I'm glad that you shared that, because I know a lot of women, particularly when it comes to love, and they want to adopt the best possible practices for manifesting love, can sometimes start beating themselves up when they're not always high vibe, when they don't always have the positive mindset about it. And then that becomes self-defeating.
Yeah, it's an illusion. Like, actually, true high vibe is non-resistance to what is. Not fighting against what is. And there's a steadiness, there's a stillness within that. That's peace. That's the real peace within, not fighting against what is. So real quickly, like, if you think about it, if you are grieving and then you're upset at yourself for grieving, that's like an added layer of resistance on top of the grief. Versus what if you just let yourself grieve and you do that compassion thing, you show up for yourself, honey, I'm here for you. The grief passes very quickly. And that's a high vibe experience, even in the grief. So being with what is, allowing what is, and allowing whatever is true for you to be what's true for you, that's the highest vibe you can be.
Oh, so good. Such beautiful conversations, and I wish I could honestly talk all day about this and just absorbing your beautiful energy and wisdom. Thank you so much, beautiful woman, for joining us today. Is there anything else before we unfortunately wrap up the session today? Anything else that you would like to share with our community? I know that they would have gotten just as much out of this conversation as what I personally have. How shall we finish up?
I would say that a tip, if you are really on this journey of you want to discover yourself as love, you want to become the embodiment of love, you're like really in it, you really want that, start listening to your deeper being, your intuition, we might say. Start listening and feeling out what messages about your true self do you resonate with? Who's speaking the message that you really resonate with? And go to them, like listen to them, read them, listen to the podcast, watch on YouTube, flock to the people that you resonate with, because they're offering a transmission that is helping you remember who you are. And so before we crack open and can remember for ourselves, we can rely on other people who help us remember. So seek those people out and go listen and hear them and absorb everything they're saying so you can remember who you are too.
Thank you so much. And that was absolutely my intention when bringing together all of the beautiful mentors for this event and providing, we've got some amazing meditations and art therapy mandalas for people who want to just sit and be quiet and explore what comes up. There's so many tools and resources, but I agree it's so important. There is so much help out there. There's so much guidance, and no one should have to sit and feel alone and feel blocked and feel stuck and feel like there's a path forward to be able to create the experience that they want, right?
Yes. There's so many people leading the way and guiding the way and on the same path. And so seek us out, and we're here to remember together.
Absolutely. And I would encourage you, absolutely pop down and click the button and grab your copy of Shelly's beautiful free gift. All of her social media links will be linked up below. So take the time to connect with her and be part of her community through Facebook, Instagram. That'll all be linked up down there. And thank you so much, Shelly. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. If you want to continue the conversation, you can hop over to Facebook and pop in any comments or thoughts or feedback. Otherwise, we'll catch you again tomorrow for the Love Transformation class. Bye for now.
Bye.